Hey guys, a little off location here. So this is my normal setup, but I think it'll work just fine. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is how you're going to make your first project. I know, oh my God, we're gonna actually get to work with clay at home. It's a good thing. So you guys are going to see in your handouts that you have one like this. It's not color, well, it'll be color online. But if you want to print it, I highly recommend that any of the handouts that I post, you print them. That way when you're working with clay, you can have them with you instead of trying to have your Chromebook getting all clay-y when you're trying to, touch things with your clay in your hands. So the sign that we are doing is called a wire cutter lug. A lug is something that is on the end of a single wire. This is a store-bought lug and wire. You hold these and use them to cut clay. Let me show you how that works. So you guys have your block of clay here. I'm gonna open it up. Try to be careful not to tear the bag. I'm gonna cut a small piece off so I can show you a little bit how to make the lug. You have your canvas fabric down here. So I'm just gonna unwrap it a bit. And what you do is you take this wire and you're going to hold both sides and you can pull this. Oh, I know, right? But anyway, I can't send home a ton of these. So what I'm gonna do is have you guys make your own custom lugs. But it's gonna tell something about you. I want you guys to design 3 different sets, and I'm gonna go over that more probably on a live Zoom meeting. You're gonna design 3 different ones, but each one should tell me something about you, what your interests are, what you like, a favorite pet, favorite food. If you wanna make it for somebody else, which I don't think that's really gonna be useful to you because it's for cutting clay, but maybe a friend that also takes ceramics, because you're actually gonna get to use these later in the year once they're fully done, fired, and we get the wire or string on them. So think about those things when you're planning. Planning is the most important part of doing anything with clay. There's planning and prepping. So you guys watched the video on prepping your clay, so I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna tear off a piece here. I don't need it all at once. I don't need to, wedge the whole thing, but you can if you want. So I'm gonna take my clay, toss it, hit a different side each time. And what you're gonna use this wire lug for, instead of trying to cut this in half with your hands, is you can actually use your wire cutter around this to cut even smaller bits of clay too. You still see I have a little air bubble there, but I'm not firing this, so I'm not too concerned. Your wire lug should be something that's going to fit nicely in the palm of your hand, okay? You could probably go a little bit bigger than this. Let's see, it fits in the palm of my hand. And it should be about as long as your thumb. It could be a little longer if you like. These are really big. You don't need them this big. Usually it's just 2 little pieces of wood on the end, but I think it's really great. You guys can customize this. So we're going to now, let's pretend I have my design. You're gonna notice maybe throughout the year that I like cats, ladybugs. I love ladybugs. Red is my favorite color. So I might do 2 things related to that. I like flowers, nature, things that are pretty, things that are adorable. One of my favorite fish is a puffer fish, so it could be something like that. There's a lot of different ideas you guys can pull from. And as you can see, I'm taking from the little bit of clay that I wedged, and I'm trying to get like kind of 2 even pieces of clay here. One thing you need to be careful of, the fabric too. Your clay is gonna wanna dry out real quick. So you're gonna wanna take out your sponge and a cup, some water, and occasionally you can kind of dab your clay. If you're not using a larger chunk here, I'm gonna tell you guys you really need to put it in the bag as you're working. I'm gonna stick this in here. Get all the air out of the bag. Twist, put it to the side. So we have our little bits of clay here. What I'm doing is I'm feeling between my hands to feel for even. They don't need to be exactly even when you're making a design. So I'm gonna put this chunk off to the side. Now, say we're making a ladybug. Think of the general shape of a ladybug. What is it? It's round, a little flat in the bottom. So I'm gonna take some of this here and maybe leave a little bit to the side for some extra body parts. It's occasionally good to dip your fingers in water. So I'm just kind of mushing this together. I'm gonna start to make a ball. Okay. Now, when you do this to make a ball, it gets all pointy and wonky on the ends, so you're gonna have to take your time to kind of make it a little bit nicer and rounder. Okay. Now, a ladybug isn't just a ball. Like, it's not gonna be just a ball. What we want to do is cut a flat spot on it, because ladybugs have flat spots on them. If you guys are good with the carving tool, if you guys got the permission slip signed by parents, you should be good to use the pointed side to make a flat base. Just gonna twist that. If not, you can try using a plastic knife. Please do not go grabbing like steak knives and stuff for your house. I don't need anybody getting cut. Even though we're remote, I still care about you. So I put it down on the mat here, and I cut a piece off the bottom so it's flat and it's like a dome, okay? So I have that little piece here. I'm gonna take my time and kind of smooth it with a little bit of water. Only use a little water at a time. If you use too much water on your projects, it's gonna turn to mud. This is just synthetic dirt, synthetic clay mud, meaning it's made by hand, it's made by people, it's made in a facility. Yes, you can dig clay out of a riverbed, but this is the good stuff. That stuff has like all rocks and fish poop in it. So I'm really taking the time to make that nice and smooth. Now, what I recommend is you have your design that gets approved in front of you. You guys must have your design approved before you get started, otherwise you're gonna lose about 20 points on your project grade. I really do stress, especially in the rubric, you're gonna see 50% of your projects is thinking and planning. If you don't plan it ahead of time and don't get it approved, especially for these first assignments, you're skipping steps that are really important. So I really need to make sure that you guys are doing that off the bat. All right, so you would have your picture of a ladybug in front of you. You have to think there's spots, there's a line that kind of opens the wings up. So you can use your kebab skewer and you can draw on your project. So I'm gonna draw a straight line down. And drew around that. And I'm gonna draw along the top here. I'm gonna make a super simple ladybug for this, just for time's sake too. You can see there's the head and there's the line there. Now I wanna make the dots. You guys are gonna be getting a paintbrush, actually two, one smaller, one larger. I'm gonna use this paintbrush to kind of paint in these lines a little to smooth them out. Not too much water again. But you're gonna see this is gonna look a lot neater. It's not gonna look like someone just like, sliced the clay. It's gonna make it look like it's kind of part of the project instead of just I drew on this. You can see it's a little bit smoother now. Okay. Now I need to think, okay, ladybugs have spots. How can I make spots on this? Well, one, you could paint spots on this later if you wanted to, but I like to give objects a little more texture. So you can find anything in your house that has like a round end on it, depending on what you're looking for. Like, let's see if this works. You can actually test different textures out on a scrap piece of clay, like that. Okay, so you have a dot here. I'm going to be making this symmetrical. So I'm just using a pencil eraser, kind of twisting it in. You could add more if you want to, but that's pretty good. Okay, so now what I want to do is think about where is the wire going to go through my wire lug. So if you look at these pictures, you're going to see there's little holes in them, but you want to make sure it's somewhere a little bit inconspicuous so you're not ruining your design. What I'm going to do is take that kebab skewer, poke all the way, oh, I dropped stuff, happens. I'm going to poke all the way through right where the head and the wings meet. And I'm going to kind of wiggle that around in a circle. I made mine a little large, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So after this, you can draw little details on here. Maybe you want to draw like little cute eyes or something, depending on what your design is. Maybe you're going to make a texture on here. But anything you do, you want to make sure you clean up with that paintbrush. It's crude, but it's adorable. Okay. So this is how to make a wire lug. Of course, you would make two of them. You can make two that are exactly the same if you want to. But again, get that design approved ahead of time. Make sure when you wash your hands with clay, don't let large chunks of clay go down the sink. Pick those up. You can put those on a paper towel for a little bit to dry to put back in your clay bag again. Okay, all done.